Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of SoftLogic Stockbrokers, I would like to warmly welcome all of you who have joined with us for our investor forum with Kalani Tyres PLC. So, CEAT Kalani, one of the most successful Indo-Lanka JVs in the country, is also the market leader in many tire categories in the present market. Hence, today with us, we have Mr. Rohan Fernando, the Managing Director of Kalani Tyres PLC, to share more insights on the company performance and its future outlook. The agenda for today's meeting would be an initial discussion with Mr. Fernando, which would then be followed by a Q&A session. So we would appreciate if all your questions can be taken up at the end, and request you to post your questions via the Zoom chat box. Okay, to start off the proceedings, would like to ask Mr. Fernando if you could give us or all our audience an overview on how the market dynamics for tire industry has really changed from December 2020 till now. Especially, we saw import restrictions being relaxed in December 2020. So how has things been from then onwards? Over to you, Mr. Fernando.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining this program. To talk of the question was overview on how the market dynamics have changed since December 20. You want it from December 2020 or from the beginning of the COVID period?
Anything that is insightful for our audience, Mr. Fernando.
Yeah, I think it would be more insightful talking pre-COVID and post-COVID, what it would be if the situation continues in this manner. That might be more meaningful. So if we talk of the pre-COVID situation, we had in Sri Lanka tire market, I would talk of in tonnage, because generally, technically, we talk of tonnage in tires rather than the numbers, because numbers are not meaningful when you talk of in anything relating to the tire business, because as you know, small three-wheeler tire is only 3 kilos, while a truck tire would be 60 kilos. So if you sell one truck tire, it is equivalent to selling 20 three-wheeler tires. So generally, when we talk of anything to do with the tire business, we talk of tonnage, and the tonnage, the quantity of weight on the road. That's how we normally apply. So if we talk of the tonnage of the requirement of tires in Sri Lanka, we are talking about 2,400 metric tons was the demand each month that was required for the Sri Lanka tire market. Now, that this is pre-COVID, I would say during the first 3 months of 2020. During that period, CEAT had a market share of about 1,100 metric tons, which was about 46% of the total market. And the importers and a few other smaller tire manufacturers together sold the balance 1,300 tons, which was about the balance 54% market share. But if you take today, post-COVID, the overall market, if we do not consider the loss of business or loss of mileage for the lockdown period or lockdown areas, if we talk of a general market, I would say that the market has remained at 2,400 tons because there had not been a significant growth in the market. But the dynamics have substantially changed in that CEAT today, their market share has gone up from 1,100 tons to 1,500 tons, where it has gone up, the market share has gone up from 46% to a perceived 63%. And the non-CEAT segment has, their total market share has dropped from 54% down to 37%. So our businesses, CEAT Kalani business has substantially improved pre-COVID and post-COVID. So that is how the, now one of the reasons, of course, is that in April 2020, the government they considered tires as a non-essential requirement, and it was clubbed together with many items which are not permitted to be imported. So that lasted continuously up to about December 2020. Not all the segments. All the segments, I believe, was until about July, and it was some sizes were relaxed in July, some sizes in October, and all sizes were relaxed totally by December 2020. But what happened was that during that period, although in April, May 2020, the country was virtually closed, from June onwards, the wheels started turning, and there was a requirement, but the importers could not get down any tires. So CEAT was able to build up its market share continuously up to about 1,500 metric tons. So progressively they increased from their 1,100 metric tons, and the market kept on going up to reaching a level of about 63%. That's about 1,500 metric tons. Now, we expected with the restrictions being lifted that we would lose a substantial share of this higher market which we were able to enjoy during the restricted period. So during that time, what happened was we introduced certain schemes to strengthen our relationship with the dealers, which helped us to retain this 1,500 tons circa continuously, or the 63% market share continuously. So even though now we are in the month of October, 10 months have virtually gone in 2021, we have been enjoying that higher market share continuously during this year also, and we hope to probably even further reinforce, further strengthen the schemes with the dealers, which will augment our market share further, I believe. So that's basically an overview of the market.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fernando. Also, we would like to hear from you about the expansions that recently concluded. So we saw across many segments, Kalani Tyres having some expansions. So if you could explain how things worked and what are the areas that you all did expansions in, and also about the full capacity that you all, production capacity that you all have, and about utilization levels, that would be useful.
Yeah, so the Sri Lanka tire industry, or the Sri Lanka tire requirement, consists of about 6 or 7 major categories of tires. One segment, it is what is called which is probably the largest segment at the moment, is what's called the truck bus bias tires, which is the conventional tires, conventional truck bus tires made out of nylon or cotton fabric construction. Now that's called the TBB, the truck bus bias. Then the next category is LTB, that is the light truck bias. The next category is the radial, steel radial, car, van, light truck. Then the next category is truck bus radial, steel radials. Then the 3-wheeler, 2-wheeler, and then other categories like a few agricultural tires, etc. Now, if you talk of the truck bus bias market, we have out of our production, earlier installed production of about 1,700 tons, we had about 650 metric tons. That is 13,500 numbers of truck bus tires, which were produced and sold in Sri Lanka. That was about 70% market share, and we are continuing to hold, even at the present moment, that market share about 70%. Similarly, light truck tires is about 24,000 tires, which also we are holding. It is also about 80% market share of Sri Lanka's tire market. And that market also we are continuing to hold to the 80% market share. The area where we had significant potential for growth had been in the area of the radial segment, what is called the steel belted radial tires, which is mostly common in and popular in cars and vans and in a few light trucks. Now, there the market was around 100,000 tires pre-COVID, and today the 100,000 has probably gone up to about 110,000 to even 120,000, but that may be with a certain amount of stocking by at different levels, at importer level, at wholesaler level, or retailer level. But I would say, even if you do not consider increase in the market growth, the market is about 100,000 tires, and CEAT was only selling around 36,000 tires pre-COVID. That is about 36% market. Now that was one area where we as a company and we as our directors had been focusing, because that is the area where we had significant potential. But as I told you, truck and light truck, we are already at 80 to 70 to 80% market share. But the car and van tire category, where we were at 36%, was the area we had focused for expansion. And we had pre-COVID, we had already planned a certain amount of expansion to take our capacity to 50,000 tires. And I must say that although we could not get things moving during the first couple of months of COVID, that is April to about June, July last year, because we could not get the necessary technicians from India and China to come into Sri Lanka. Subsequently, we managed to get their support, and a team of Indian experts came, and we have got this expansion program commissioned, and we increased our passenger car radial, van radial, light truck radial production from 36,000 to 50,000 tires. It's about 50 to 51,000 tires in production, and the sale has gone up to about 50,000. So we have seen that our passenger car radial, van radial market, which was hovering around 36% of the market, we have been able to increase it now to 50%. That has been a significant area of expansion, which is already commissioned and in play. The next area was in what is called the truck bus radials. That is the truck bus tires not made out of cotton and nylon fabric, but made out of steel, which is called the famous, the latest technology called the truck bus radial technology, which we had gone into this venture only a few years ago. And that is the market in Sri Lanka is about 9,000 tires. And at our first stage, we were selling about 1,500 tires. That gave us about 90 tons. That also, the expansion program was focused, and we had ordered the equipment. And I'm happy to say that once again, that entire expansion program of going a doubling capacity to 3,000 tires a month has already been commissioned by now. And we are producing from this month, this month, we are producing about 3,000 truck bus radial tires. Then the other category, of course, is a three-wheeler, where our production and local sales were about 50,000 tires a month, with a market share of about 52%. Because in three-wheeler, there are so many small players who have small amounts of market shares. And that's why even though we produce 50,000 tires, that as a percentage, we are at 52%. And there is no significant growth in that market. Therefore, we had not planned any expansion in three-wheeler tires. But we had planned substantial expansion in the motorcycle market, because that is the area where the tire market is once again growing, like the passenger car radials. And the motorcycle, we were producing only about 27,000 pieces pre-COVID. And the expansion took place during this period. And today we have increased our production, expanded to 45,000, almost close to double, taking the market share up to about 34%. So those are the areas where the expansion has already taken place in the recent past.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fernando. You were mentioning that the company took a few very important strategies to maintain the market share despite import restrictions being lifted. So one aspect would be managing your dealer network. So all of us would be really interested to know how this strategy sort of rolled out, how Kalani is managing the dealer network and maintaining the market share plus 55% levels. If you could give some color on that, please.
Yeah, tire business significantly, the dealers play and the relationship with dealers play a large part in being able to maintain your market shares or to increase the market shares, because the tire is a product. Sometimes even if a customer has a preconceived brand in mind, that when he has to come to a tire retailer, a dealer, to change his tires, because he can't buy a tire and change it at home. So he has to go to a dealer, and when he goes to a dealer, he comes in contact with the owner of the dealer, which are mostly proprietorships, and a couple of sales people, and also the fitters. So their perception of the product is very important, and sometimes they can change the total idea of what you have come for. Sometimes we have instances where people have come asking for very expensive European tires, but based on when the tire fitter or the tire salesman gives some pertinent proposals, we have found that they ultimately, even though they come with the expectation of fixing a very expensive European tire, even to a car like a Mercedes, they may end up going, having got a set of SEAT tires fitted and very happy with the deal. So the dealer plays a very, very important part in this, in the final tire purchase aspect of it. So we do a lot of concentration on building up dealer relationships. So in the tire business is an area where a lot of money is spent on relationship building with dealers. So now, apart from the many schemes we have, like we have so many pre-COVID, tire business probably was the biggest spender with regard to overseas travel among the dealers. I mean, there are some dealers who got not only from SEAT, but even from the importers, that they probably would have got 6 to 7 trips, annual trips, holidays, vacations, cruises, at least 6 to 7 every year. So there are a lot of spending. This tire business spends a lot on this type of things on the dealers. But apart from that, what matters is when it comes to profitability, what happened was that at SEAT, there we had a dealer deposit scheme, because unlike many other, I do not know about many other industries, but tire industry is an industry which works on to a large extent on what you call trust. So there is a certain element of trust on the dealer. So I have always maintained this position that when in our industry, 30% is selling a tire, 70% of our expertise goes how to collect the payment. This is where the important part lies, because in the tire business, you don't sell on credit. I mean, you sell on credit, but not on bank guarantee backed business. It is basically on trust. So that is how the business has evolved over the years, and that is the way it has to go. And if somebody comes to try and change it and say, I will sell only on a bank guarantee or on cash, he will not succeed. So SEAT at any given time has to carry a debt, not a debt, a receivable liability from the trade of about ₹1 billion plus. But so does all the importers also. If they are in import tire business, they have to take that risk. So their assessment of the credit risk of their customers are very, very important. Now at SEAT, what happened was that SEAT had a slightly different scheme which importers did not have. That is, they had what is called the dealer deposit scheme. I mean, this was a scheme which came from India, what is practiced in the Indian tire trade, where a dealer is encouraged to invest a certain amount of money with the company, and the dealer gets an interest rate which is linked to the performance of his purchase, interest rate which is very, very much higher than what he can get by investing that amount of money in a FD in a bank or any other financial institution. So those days before pre-COVID, we had a deposit base of about 650 million rupees. Now this 650 million rupees, the scheme of this SDS scheme, what is called the dealer deposit scheme, was that they had to buy 2.5 times the condition of earning. The premium interest was that they had to purchase 2.5 times that deposit value within 3 months. So which means that they had to do something like 1,300 million within 3 months. That's about 450 million rupees worth of tires every month. Was kind of a captive business, because they had to do that for them to earn that premium interest, and they were doing that. So pre-COVID, we had a situation where of a sale of about 1.1 billion, 450 to 500 million was this deposit-based business, and business outside that was about another 600 million. Now, during last year, also when we learned that there was competition was going to come with another manufacturer coming into Sri Lanka, to the Sri Lanka market, what we did was we knew that the best way we can kind of ensure the continuation of our market share was to get the support of the dealers. So earlier, as I told you, we used to give them 2.5% a month, that is at the rate of 30% a month interest, 30% annum interest, which is 2.5%, provided they kept the deposit and did the sale. Are you with me? So,
Yes.
So let's say, for example, if they kept 1 million rupee deposit with us, and if they did 2 million sale in 3 months, that is at the level of about 650,000 a month, they used to get 2.5%, that is 25,000 rupees as the incentive stroke interest for that 1 million deposit, which is virtually 30%, vis-a-vis bank interest of about 6%, right? So it was much more lucrative for them to keep the deposit, achieve the turnover, and earn this high profit on their deposit. Now, what happened was that when we were coming into the year 2021, and with another tire factory information being got that another tire factory had come up in Horana, we thought that the best way was to get the dealers to be with us. So what we did was we introduced what was called a gold deposit scheme, where we gave an offer to the dealers and told them, look, increase your deposit with us, or at least maintain the higher sale you had done with us during the tire restricted period, import restricted period, and increase your deposit. And if you achieve that new deposit value every month, we will give you 5%, that is 60% per annum, 5% for your deposit value. So we found the situation where the people probably, let's say earlier dealer had kept a deposit of 5 million, and he was buying 3.5 million every month. But during COVID time, his purchases went up to, let's say, 7 million. We told him, now you increased your deposit value from 5 million to 7 million. But from the earlier 3.5 million, you continue buying 7 million with us, and we will give you 5%. So suddenly dealers found that there was an additional very lucrative profit element coming by continuing to do business with CIAT. But at the same time, they had to lock in with us with that deposit, and they had to keep the deposit with us and perform to the value of the deposit to earn this additional amount. That had really helped us. And today that captive business is about, from 450 million, today the same dealers are giving us business to about 1,100 million a month. And the non-captive business from 600 million had dropped to about 400, or at least some of it had got converted to this 1,100. So our total, we are about 1,500 from the earlier 1,100. So this relationship and this trick of getting that dealer's support and dealer's business, which was hitherto going towards selling imported tires, which they converted during the restriction period, we used it for them to continue doing business with us. And finally, the dealers started promoting CIAT tires to where before they had been marketing imported tire. Now, those customers are also continuing to buy CEAT, and that is the reason why our sales have really gone up. And now we are hovering around 1,500 metric tons with about 63 to 65% market share.
Thank you, Mr. Fernando, for that very clear explanation. So moving on to another segment, which is the export market. So we know there's some portion of tires which go into the export market. So if you can brief us on how the performance in these export markets have been over the past few quarters and what your main destinations for exports would be helpful.
Do you want a brief on the international market or vis-a-vis CEAT's exports?
The exports done by CEAT.
No, CEAT exports, as you know, with the tire imports being restricted, the responsibility fell on the company to sell as much as possible whatever production in the domestic market. So there was not much room, not much production available for us to augment any exports. So exports virtually, to even at that time or even during 2020 or even now, exports is what we export is just a residual of our production. We don't really, we do not have the production to really concentrate and build up export market. So we, as I told you, our production, which was around, our production was about 1,700 metric tons pre-COVID. But with the COVID, with the expansion which took place during the recent past, our production has gone up to installed capacity has gone up from 1,700 tons to 2,000 tons. That's about 17% increase. But mostly the concentration to sell as much as possible of this in the domestic market. So exports is not a significant market for us. We have not been aggressively trying to build up the exports because we don't have the production to do that. And at the world market prices, which are currently taking place, or for that matter, historically, export market has been based on an international world market pricing, which was controlled by the Chinese pricing. And in pneumatic car tires, it is not a market which is too lucrative to expand continuously and to be hoping to sell, hoping to expand and sell in the export market at those prices. So we are not very much present in the export markets at the moment, and so that's the situation.
Okay, Mr. Fernando. Then moving on to the cost of sales associated with your industry. So if you could give us a rough breakdown on Kalani Tyres' cost of sales and how the surging prices have sort of impacted the margins of the company, that would also be helpful.
Yeah, well, cost of sale. Okay, I will give you, the cost of sale has gone up significantly. If I talk of, do you want it pre-COVID or you want post-COVID or what?
Present situation would be much more, it'll be give a better picture.
I know, but compared with?
Compared with pre-COVID, that should be fine.
Compared with pre-COVID. Just a minute.
Because one big question all of us would be having is rubber prices are actually on the rise. So that should be hurting the margins of tire industry. So
yeah, okay. So just give me until I get my computer on to that page. Okay, let's take April 20, for instance. In the in the month of April 2020, the cost of production or cost of raw materials was in the region of about 333 rupees a kilo. Okay. And our against today, the cost of raw material is around 333 has gone up to 487 rupees. So it's more, it's about 50%. There's a 50% increase in the cost of raw material. But if you take how we have mitigated that is, in the, if you talk of April 20, our average realization was around 700 rupees. okay, a kilo, which today that 700 has gone up to is about 800 rupees a kilo.
Okay.
Sorry, it's about 800 and it's about 870 a kilo, right? So that you would see that the increase of 330 to 332 raw material cost increase of 330 to 480, let's say 150 rupees, we have recovered on the selling price from about 700 to 860 rupees. So that 150 to 160 has been already absorbed and the cost increase mitigated. We have no other way other than to increase it through selling price. So it is not although the raw material went up by 50%, by rupees, we have mitigated that through the selling price.
So, as in, Canny Tires have taken a few price increases, I suppose.
Yep. We had to take because rubber by itself went up by a massive portion. The natural rubber, which was costing us in April 20, our natural rubber cost per kilo was 280 rupees. Today we are buying it at 420 rupees. So like that, even other imported raw materials, which are mostly petroleum based raw materials, all have gone up in price.
So,
we have to
Mr.
take
Fernando, okay, thank you so much. So, to be a bit more precise, if you could give us like a small indication as to what percentage of your costs are taken up by rubber and other imported raw materials and other costs, etc., would be a bit more clear for our audience to get an understanding on that. If you could give a
you mean
breakdown, that would be fine.
Percentage of rubber against all other raw materials or what?
Yes, just a rough breakdown on like what percentages these certain components occupy within your pie of sales would be.
Yeah, so you would say that rubber would take around, I'm talking only on the raw materials. I'm not talking of the cost of production. I'm not talking of inputting the conversion costs and labor, not those things. I'm just talking of the cost of raw materials.
Okay, got it. Then would like to ask you, what are the main industry challenges faced by the company over the recent years? And what do you see in the future coming, the main challenges for your industry, or specifically for Canny Tires?
You see, the challenges have been there hanging over our heads like the sword of Damocles from the beginning. One of the challenges would be reduction of duties, reduction of importer prices. So these have been the two historical challenges which we have always kept in the back of our heads, and our decisions has been keeping these things in mind. So I think duty level today has come down to 15%. I don't think the duty will come down further than that. So we are at the rock bottom with regard to fiscal duties are concerned. But importer prices also, China, I think, has now passed the point where they were trying to grab markets by giving low prices with regard to tires. And now we see that the Chinese tire companies, those tires are very good, and those tire companies now slowly increasing. And they are the margin between a Chinese tire and any other manufactured source, that gap is reducing. So China is also increasing. So I think we have seen the worst of that. That challenge is now past, and I think we are running our own race at the moment. But I would say that one of the biggest challenges we have in Sri Lanka, if you see it at the moment, I would say is one thing is this cultural mental block. That, as you know, in Sri Lanka, our Sinhalese people, they'll even Sri Lankan people, they will even they will even catch a cold if it is imported. No, they will grab it. You know what I mean, right? The cultural problem of anything imported is better than what is made in Sri Lanka. So this is a big challenge for us, because they always perceive an imported product to be better than a tire, better than a local product. Now we see that in our tires, because some of our tires, I won't say all of our tires, but I can tell you, I'm a person with more than 30 years experience in the entire gamut of tire industry. That some of the tires we make at CEAT are equal to the best of that category in the world, right? I mean, that is definite. Especially with regard to this nylon, I told you about that TBB, nylon truck bias segment. But even in that segment, you would see that we hold only 70% of the market to 80% in the light truck. That means there's a 20 to 30% that people are willing to pay a much higher price simply because it is an imported product. And I can tell you as a tire professional, there is no way those tires are significantly better. In fact, they are much inferior. What these people are paying, what the consumer is willing to pay a higher price, is significantly inferior to the products made by CEAT Sri Lanka. But that cultural mental block is a challenge. So I would put that as a number one thing, because if we did not have that cultural mental block, we would have definitely been to acquire another at least 10% of this market. That is slowly going. So the only way we can get rid of that is like kind of forcing people to use CEAT. And the restriction, tire import restriction period really helped us for that. Because during the tire import restriction period, people were forced to use the CEAT tire, especially in the commercial segment. And when they used the CEAT tire, where vis-a-vis they were using comparatively earlier, they were using an imported tire. When they were forced to use the CEAT tire, they found that the CEAT tire was very, very cost effective, performed brilliantly, and cost per kilometer, which is what is called the CPK, which is what ultimately matters when it comes to these commercial segments. The CPK was far, far lower than using an imported tire. So this import restriction period really gave us a boost for the market to finally, proof of the pudding is in the eating. They had to eat the pudding, and then they found that it was really good. So that has helped us. So that cultural problem we have got to help us to get to, and probably in the future with word of mouth, we'll be able to expand some more on that. That is I would say that is one of the major challenges. But beyond that, of course, there is competition always. I mean, earlier the competition was with Chinese imports coming in at low prices. That beyond that, there are some other challenges. Now, probably today I think we are talking of certain other tire factories also, setting up or have set up, or they may try to expand their production into these markets. So these are challenges which we will face as it comes. It's not something we can plan too much ahead. When it comes face to face, we will come up with the necessary. Our board is very experienced board. Collectively, I think we carry a couple of 100 years of experience. We put the experience of all our directors in the tire industry. So as we face challenges, we will, I'm sure we will come up with the necessary strategies to overcome them.
Okay, Mr. Fernando, understood. So one final question from me. So what are the main growth drivers of Kalani Tires that our investors should look out for in the coming quarters? And also would like to know what efforts and initiatives the company would take to drive shareholder value in the future. So basically would like to know about your dividend payout policy and things like that going forward.
Okay, can I be pretty honest in this?
Yes, please.
Yeah, none of our decisions taken by the management or by the board is focused on driving shareholder value. Our decisions are made purely to augment the performance of our companies, which we have done. So what we are doing is increasing the performance in top line and bottom line. And we believe that by performing, there will be larger sums available to be paid out as dividends. And through such dividends, and also the balance going into reserves, our companies will become more and more attractive, because our investors will see these companies as professionally managed, probably not too aggressive, but within our industry, professionally managed, conservative to a certain extent, careful, but slowly but gradually increasing market shares, increasing profitability, and increasing the security of your investment. So I believe that is the assurance I can give. And even if you look at our dividend policy, we have a very, it's an unwritten policy, but we have understanding with our partners here at India that 50% of the profits we make shall be distributed as dividends. So Kalanni Tyres gets 50% of the profits of CEAT Kalanni, and almost the entirety of that is redistributed to our shareholders. And that is how we, over the years, we have increased. Now for the third running year, we have increased our dividend to, we are paying a 5 rupee dividend. This year also we paid, and we propose, we hope within our next year's projections also we'll be able to continue. And as we go along with this, with our dividend coming from CEAT increasing, definitely we will be paying out higher dividends. But as I told you, we are only drawing only 50% of our CEAT profits as to be paid for dividends. There's a balance portion which goes into developing and keeping and developing the reserves of the company. So there is another one-to-one earnings which are going to build up the reserves of the company. That does not get shown face to face. You don't see it, but that is our CEAT. If I tell you that CEAT dividends, if you take the CEAT cash reserves in year 1920, at the end of 1920, we had cash reserves of 2.5 billion rupees. At the end of 2021, the cash reserves had gone up to 3.5 billion. And this year, after paying 1,000 million dividend out, we are projecting the cash reserves to be 4.5 billion. So we are building up the, what you call the shareholder value is built up on both sides, on augmenting and giving higher dividends. At the same time, we are also building up the reserves. At the same time, building up necessary expansion as required in a responsible manner. We are not spending money for the sake of expanding. We are not dumping and expanding. We are expanding as the market requires our products. So in all three areas, we are focusing and doing, as I told you, and I believe that these three put together should be a significant driver of shareholder value.
Okay, Mr. Fernando, thank you so much. So now we would like to open the floor for Q&A, and we have got some questions in the Zoom chat box. So Kern wants to know about the competition. So now we've heard from you also, new tire factories, now they've already commissioned operations. So he wants to know how these companies would impact CEAT Kalanni operations going forward.
There is two different questions you asked. One is about exports and one is about the competition, right? Mm-hmm. Which one you want me to answer?
About the competition would be fine.
Yeah, as I told you, competition, we have always had competition from the past. Couple of years ago, Chinese tires coming in without any rains, coming even at, I would say, at dumping prices, was a big challenge to us, right? And we had to live with it. We strategized and we lived through those problems. Now, at the moment, in the future, if supposing we had to live with another tire company coming up and setting up products, we will have to come up with the necessary strategies and we will face them. It is not something we are going to, I'm quite sure we can face, and I'm quite sure that we will not, because first thing what we'll do is, what those companies will have to do is, as I told you, even at the moment, there's 35% of tires being imported. So most of these, any new tire companies will want to take part of that importer's market share before trying to come to the CEAT market share. CEAT market share might reduce slightly, but the markets are also growing, although we did not see any growth during the past 2 years. As we go forward, the market percentages will grow. In absolute numbers and absolute tonnages, I'm quite confident that we'll be able to maintain or increase as we go along. That is with regard to the competition. And the second you asked was about exports, right?
Yes.
We are significantly small in exports compared to other companies. Yes, you must understand that the beginning of this entire this enterprise, the CEAT Kalani, the beginning is the Sri Lanka Tyre Corporation, which was set up in 1965 by the government. Now, even up to 1977, 1978, it is the Sri Lanka Tyre Corporation which supplied 100% of the 100% of the tire requirements in this country. And the tire imports were liberalized in 1978, and from there onwards, it has kept on coming up to the present moment. So there was a great responsibility of this company to continue to supply the requirements of Sri Lanka, to supply the requirements of the country with regard to our production. So that is where we have continued. Production has increased, but the domestic market also has increased. Therefore, our significantly larger portion of our production still goes to sell in the domestic market. And that is why we do not have much production available to venture into exports in a more aggressive manner.
Okay, Mr. Fernando, we have a question from Mrs. Anwar Jafferji. He wants to know whether exports to Coopers is still on the cards, or what is the situation with that aspect?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Exports to Coopers, the overseas, the company Coopers. So there was some discussions or some news around whether that news is still on or whether that is still progressing.
Export to Coopers?
Yes. He wants to know specific.
Cooper as in Cooper Tire Company, is it?
Based in Australia.
No, we never had any discussions with a company called Cooper for any proposed exports.
Okay, Mr. Fernando. And there's another question. He also wants to know, with the expanded radial capacity, what is your intention? Like, is it purely targeted to the domestic market? I suppose yes, right?
Yeah, first the domestic market, but you know, it's like this. In tire business, there is what is called in a tire factory. It's a bit of a complicated procedure. You would say virtually five production lines come together in making a tire. Now, there is what is called the balancing of all these at the optimum level. That is important because most of these lines can be very, very expensive. I mean, expansion. So what we do is now today we are coming to a level where we have virtually balanced all these 5 different production lines to the optimum level, which gives us the optimum production against the cost. Now, if we are to increase production, then what happens is that we have to make substantial investments, which can be very prohibitive in the shorter term or even in the medium term with regard to the scalability and profitability. Now, take for instance, we will probably have in our radial line, we are, as I told you, we have come to about 50,000, 51,000, and we are meeting about 50,000, 50% of the market share. Now, if we are to increase, probably we can increase to another 10,000 or 20,000 maximum, right? Now, if we are to increase it by another 10,000, the capital, the investment probably will be in billions, right? And just to sell another additional 10,000 tires, to invest in that couple of billion rupees will not be economically viable. So we have to intelligently balance out our expansion also. So that is why even in the whatever the expanded radial production, we will predominantly aim at selling maximum share in the domestic market, and then the residual we will export. Okay. Because I don't think it is worthwhile at this moment for us to set up, for us to invest in such large amounts required for arbitrary expansion at the returns we can get on exports.
Okay, clear. We have a question from Savit. He wants to know what is the margin breakdown based on various segments of tires that you cater to, and also which segments have the higher margins.
I don't think I can answer that because those are certain classified with regard to margins and profitability. I would not want to share that. So you'll have to
Okay.
excuse me on that.
Okay, sure. So we have another question. If you could elaborate on how the dollar shortage and difficulties faced by importers importing tires have helped Kalani Tires. So from price point of view and demand point of view, how the
Yeah.
crisis has helped.
Yes, as I told you, during there was a time between April to about September where the tire market was totally restricted. So that gave us the virtual total 100% of Sri Lanka's tire demand to be catered by SEAT. So now that was relaxed by December 2020, that was totally relaxed. But the dollar problem continued. So what happened was that it was not easy for importers to get down tires to as easily as the way they were doing. But having said that, I must tell you that this did not affect the big importers. The big importers were able to continue to import, and from the statistics we find that the big imports during the first 6 months of this year 2021 was far higher than the imports in the previous years. So although the dollar dollar restriction is still there, the big boys have still managed to find their dollars and import probably even up to the extent of 1.5 times than what they were importing during pre-COVID. Like, to give you a simple example, I'm taking on some of the information which has been shared by this in the smart media and all that. I saw a document which I was not privy to from the central bank or whatever, that the total imports of tires in the year 2019, when there was no problems, the tire imports had been $40 million. Okay. This year in 2021, within the first 7 months, importers had imported $40 million worth of tires. So even though there's a dollar shortage, what was imported the entire year of 2019, the importers imported in 7 months during 2021. So tire imports are coming on. So not that it is not a boost, like it's not something where we can just rest and wait. Tire importers have a lot of tires, the big ones, at least the big boys have. There may have been the small timers who are getting down one, two containers each, who may be having problems getting dollars, but the big boys are able to get it.
Okay. So we have another question, Mr. Fernando, by Rashmin. So he wants to know about any cost saving initiatives, such as if the company has R&D facilities to reduce costs, things like that, or any intentions to make new tire variants. So what are the plans, Mr. Fernando, going forward on those lines?
No, as you know, this is a joint venture with SEAT India. Ours is a joint venture with SEAT India. We are SEAT India, which is a very large tire company in India. They own 50% of equity, and we Kalani Tires own 50% of equity. The SEAT, the responsibility of SEAT as our joint venture partner is that they look after all the technology, all the products, all product development, all that is supplied by SEAT India. So the advantage of that is, in Sri Lanka, we do not have to have any R&D facilities other than the basic ones which is required on a day-to-day application. But for research and development with regard to development of new products or new technology or whatever, it is all done at the research laboratories in India. So we do not have to spend on that capital cost, and we have the blessings and advantages of dipping it from them. So that is with regard to the R&D costs. What's the other question? Of course, we continue to, with regard to production. We are every month. Our focus is on reducing cost of production. So whether it is now the latest thing, what we are doing is that our entire factory roof is we have got the approval from the government to lay solar panels. Now I think we are going to generate about 2 or 2.5 megawatts of solar energy from that. Now, going forward, that would substantially mitigate our electricity costs. So there are in every area, wherever possible, no stone is left unturned to reduce the costs and go for lower cost of production.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fernando. So given the limited time, I will be picking one final question. So this is from Kavinda. Wants to know, what is your view on the current government policy of restricting the vehicle imports and its impact towards the industry in the short term and the long run, and your forecast on this policy? If you could give a brief answer, that would be really great.
I really do not think that the restriction on vehicle imports is going to have any negative effect on our market. Or let me put it the other way. I do not think that if the government even liberalizes 100% vehicle imports, even at lower duties, that the demand for tires will go up substantially. Because generally, when you consider the road conditions and the road networks available, what matters is how many vehicles can the roads afford to take at any given time. And I think we have already reached that optimum level of how many vehicles can go on our roads at the current moment. So even if imports are totally liberalized with regard to motor vehicles, it will not have a substantial impact on our tires, other than, of course, probably converting the demand from certain categories to certain categories. Like take, for instance, as I told you, at the moment, we are quite dependent on the conventional truck bus tires and conventional light truck tires. Now, if the government relaxes imports, the newer type of trucks and buses and newer light trucks probably will come with a different type of tires, like the truck bus radials, and the production mix may have to change, in which case we may have to invest in more money into the truck bus radial production line. But the overall numbers, I believe, still might remain more or less the same in the immediate future.
Okay, Mr. Fernando, thank you so much. Think we have come to the end of our webinar. So
I think there was with regard to shareholder, you had asked this question about shareholder value and growth for the shareholders. I think there was a question which I saw there's somebody asking about the dividend policy. I will talk about that, because that might be more of importance to you all. The dividend policy is that, sorry, tell me.
Yes, you could go ahead.
The dividend policy we have with CEAT India is that as at now, CEAT India last year also made about circa 2 billion profit, and God willing, this year also will make 2 billion profit. So if you, let's say, for example, if CEAT Kalani, we make 2 billion profit, PAT, then the policy we have with understanding we have with our partners are that 1 billion will be declared as dividends. So 1 billion declared as dividends means Kalani Tyres will get a dividend of 500 million. So that is the policy we have. So if our profits go up to 2.4 billion, then we will get 1.2 billion will be declared as dividends, and Kalani Tyres will get 600 million. So on and so forth. So that's the policy we have at the moment.
And hopefully this will be maintained in the future years as well, right?
Of course, yes. That is the way our policy is, that we have been declaring, because as I told you, we are still only declaring only 50% of the profits. The balance 50% of the profits are being retained at CEAT. That's how I told you that from 2.5 billion 2 years ago, we are expecting the reserves to go up to 4.5 billion by 31st March 2022. So that balance 50% is going towards retaining, because CEAT at the moment is virtually a debt-free company. So whatever additional profit we make goes towards building up cash reserves. So we build up cash reserves there, and whatever dividends we get, we tend to distribute to our shareholders. I mean, we don't keep too much of money at Kalani Tyres. We give it all back to the shareholders of Kalani Tyres PLC.
Clear. So thank you very much, Mr. Rohan Fernando, for for sharing all those thoughts with us and joining with us today for our webinar. And also big thank you to our audience as well. Hope the webinar was insightful. Hope to meet all of you all soon from another online forum. Till then, thank you and stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.